My name is Austin Subili from Bwanamoyo village in the area of traditional authority Chikumbu in Mulanje district. After I wrote my primary school leaving certificate examinations, I was lucky to have been selected to Chaminade Secondary School, which is in Kalonga district. However, I was not able to go to school at the beginning of the first term of Form 1 because I had no resources for travel, my boarding survival, and school fees. At this time, I had to go into doing pieceworks and hunting mice to sell in order to support myself. I am an orphan and I live with my grandmother, so there's nobody that could have done this for me. After 2 weeks of doing this, I managed to raise part of the money that I needed to travel to Kalonga, so I left for school to join my colleagues. I did not have the necessary materials for boarding school, let alone learning materials. However, I still went to start classes because I did not want to miss this opportunity, which I believe is the only one that can change my life in the future. My life in school was miserable, but I was still happy that I was attending classes. Good enough, my performance has always been competitive. In the first term of Form 1, I scored position 4 in class. When we closed the first term, I came home to see my family, and soon enough I was back in school with no one to pay any amount for my second term school fees. The trend went on like this even for the third term. My school life was a painful experience because I was staying on the school campus illegally. So many times I had to spend days without food because the school issued meal cards only for those that had paid fees. It would take some of my colleagues feeling sorry for me and sharing me their food. I finished my Form 1 with no single tambala paid for my school fees. This time around, despite admiring my performance, the head teacher was left with no choice but to ask me not to come back for the first term of Form 2 unless I had found money to pay. Even money for me to travel back home from school was a problem this time. The money that I had was only enough for half the trip that I was going to take. Those that know Malawi well would know that to get to Mulanje from Kalonga, one has to pass through the 3 major cities of Mzuzu, Lilongwe and Blantyre. So the money that I had was only enough to take me from Kalonga to Dedza, a district that is just after Lilongwe as we head south. I left the school campus on a day bus in order to connect to Blantyre on a night bus from Lilongwe. My thinking was that on the way, I might meet a good Samaritan to assist me with additional money to get me to Mulanje. I must admit this was the dumbest thought I've ever had. And not to my surprise, things did not work out the way I thought they would. When we got to Lilongwe, I boarded a bus for Blantyre. I did not know what I was going to do about the bus fare. When it came time for paying transport fares, I explained to the conductor that I was left with a little money that was only enough to get me to Dedza. He got furious. He spoke harshly to me and called me names, such as that I was a crook who wanted to use the bus for free. I was told that they would drop me off in a jungle between Dedza and Child districts so that I can be eaten by wild animals. But when we got to the forest area he had talked about, I was surprised that the conductor said nothing. In my head I thought he had forgiven me, not knowing that he had just forgotten to throw me off the bus. We drove and passed Balaka towards Blantyre until we were nearing Zalewa, and the conductor remembered me. He screamed at me and called me a thief. All along he kept talking to me scornfully. I must admit this was the worst treatment I had ever received from anyone before. When we reached Zalewa police roadblock, he harshly pushed me off the bus and dragged me into the police unit building that is there. He told the police that I was a thief and that they should arrest me for stealing a ride from him. The police kept me under custody as the bus left. I cried to myself. Some moments later, while I was in the hands of the police, one of the officers asked me an account of what had happened. I told them my story, from the way I had suffered in school to the reason I had gotten on the bus without enough money. This officer asked me to produce evidence that I was a student at Chaminade, and I showed him some school material. Some of it was written Chaminade. He believed me. He felt sorry for me. In a moment, he called a certain woman and told her my story. And after that call, he gave me transport to my home village. He took my home contact number and also gave me the contact number of a woman he had talked to. He said I should call the woman once I got home so that she can help me with my situation. This woman is the one that would later turn out to be Madam Ida Priwa Mwangu. So when I got home, I called the woman, and she told me that we should meet one of the days. This happened. When we met, she asked me to explain my story in detail, and I did. At the end, she told me she and her team were going to work on my problems and try to help me in my education. She promised me that her organization would be there to support me in my secondary education through college, just as long as I keep working hard and producing good results. Right now, the organization has given me transport to school, upkeep allowance, learning materials such as textbooks, pens, rulers, mathematical set, a backpack, and currently I'm told that they are working on my school uniform and shoes too. I have no words to these people. All I see is grace. I feel indebted to the organization. You might wish to know that I am the only person in my family's long history to have managed to reach this far with education, more so to make it to a good education institution like Chaminade. When I finish my education, I want to become a medical doctor. And because I have been assisted, I really want to work hard so that when I get there, I should be able to assist other young people who might be in the situation I was. I will take special interest in inspiring young people who are meeting challenges similar to mine so that they do not give up on themselves.